I get all sorts of complaints. You know what? It's actually nice to like come somewhere else and do something different.
Something different.
Do you know what I mean? Because obviously we've known each other. How many years have we actually known each other, Tony?
Probably 8. How long have I been PT now? A good 8, 9 years now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a good while.
I'll never forget that first time when I was in, it was Pure Gym then. It was like, there's this new PT in. You know what the ladies are like in the changing rooms? It's like, oh, have you seen that new PT? Oh, his name's Tony, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
So don't say it anymore. I'm old now. That was my better days.
Behave. I bet they still do. And then I saw you and I was like, watch what you were doing. And I was like, I need to lose some weight. Because you saw me in the gym and I was obviously a lot bigger than I am now. And you knew I trained.
Your training was always good, innit? I remember that.
But you said to me, your problem is food. Straight up. And I said, help me.
Yeah.
And you did. And I lost about 4 stone. So I'll never forget that initial like weight loss kick was from you. So without further ado, I'm joined by Tony Clarke, who after how many years of graft, and this is not even including before you got into the fitness industry, you've ended up with your own private fitness boutique. Tony Clarke.
Thank you.
Welcome to October Red.
Thank you for having me.
Listen.
Well overdue.
Well overdue. How many times have we tried to arrange this?
Several times, innit? It's I think it's just our schedules didn't match up in it, but listen, I'm always saying,
man.
Never before it's time. It's all, when things are ready.
You're right about that.
You know what I mean? Always the case.
So I want to go back to the beginning because you didn't start off in fitness. So let our viewers know a little bit about where this entrepreneurial mindset comes from, and I even want to go back before you was in the career that you had the change to get into fitness. So let us know a little bit about Tony.
Well, background-wise, funny enough, I've always been in like sales and marketing. Those are my 2 backgrounds, which maybe have kind of propelled me in this business today, because I definitely believe, a lot of the skills that I've obviously taken from there has helped with my personal training. Worked my way up, so I was like a sales manager at one point. But I just kind of always knew that being in an office wasn't for me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always been active. I've played football and played sports all my life, and I just couldn't sit in an office. I couldn't sit still. So went to college, or back to college to study to be a personal trainer, and never kind of looked back since then. So it's all going well so far. Fitness,
but also discipline. Like you said, you went back to college. What was it like? I know you said you just couldn't sit in an office. You can't sit still. You come from like a fitness background. But you talk about making transitions in careers. What was it that like gave you that motivation that I'm going to get into fitness? What was it?
I've always wanted to get into personal training. My hands were kind of forced in the job that I was in. I felt like because I wasn't happy with doing what I was doing, my performance did start to go down, and it was maybe just an excuse that I wanted to have. I didn't want to actually leave, but I wanted to kind of almost be sacked, essentially. I was kind of just going through the motions, as they say. And I was, at the time, I was at Pure Gym, I was just a member, and I was getting asked a lot of questions. So I ended up losing my job, and one of my best friends, he was just like, you know what, listen, I can get you into football coaching. He got me into football coaching with schools across Birmingham, so we was doing like lunchtime and after school clubs. Then he got me a job in a South Birmingham college. So I was there doing the college football team, and the lecturers just said, listen, we're starting this course in personal training. Do you know anybody who'd be interested? And I just said, yeah, I'd definitely be interested. It's something I've been thinking about for a while. And yeah, I was doing like 2 evenings a week. Got it done in about 3-4 months, and then straight into personal training from there.
Was you nervous about making the transition, like, because essentially you're self-employed, you've got to get clients to start to make money. You were in that regular 9 to 5, you were salaried, you were getting paid, you had that sick leave, you've got that like comfort blanket that protects you. But then it's like you're going out into kind of like the wild now, where you've got to now, it depends on you.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think it worried me at all. I think my original background being in sales is kind of similar. So with sales, if you don't go out and sell, you don't get paid. So I started off in sales from when I was 18, do you know what I mean? So I'm used to having that pressure, and I'm used to kind of relying on myself. to kind of bring my own income or go and, you know, do what I need to do. And I've always said that I'd rather rely on myself than rely on somebody else to get paid or, you know, to have a business. So the plan was always to go self-employed in some way or form, but I wanted to kind of work out how I could tie it in with fitness. So as I said, I've always been sporty, so it kind of just fell into place, and, you know, and as I said, we haven't looked back since.
We talk about things falling into place. From when you started, was it Pure Gym that was your first employment? So you was there as a member, and then you transitioned into obviously a trainer. What was it like gaining those like clients? And I'm going to talk about it in relation to like a timeline. So for example, you started whatever month you started in, how long did it take before you were able to generate clients? And I'm asking that, Tony, because there might be somebody watching this that is thinking about transitioning themselves. And I get it, everyone's different. It's going to be different for everybody. But tell us about your kind of time spans and what you had to do to get to those targets.
So one of the main things that I did is, as I was doing my course, I knew I was starting in Pure Gym, and I was watching the environment. That was one of the things that I did. So with all due respect to the trainers that were there, I did feel that it was quite lazy at the time. And I just felt to myself that I could come in and kind of almost shake things up. That's what I felt at the time. So I was literally watching everything. I'd be speaking to members and say, listen, I'm getting qualified, so I'm going to be a personal trainer. So I kind of almost planted seeds out there, which was a good thing, because obviously when I became a personal trainer, it almost felt natural and normal that I just fell into it, and it didn't feel like I was out of place because people already kind of knew. And they was asking me like, when are you starting and stuff. And then I just set myself targets. I just said, listen, within the first 3 months, this is what I want. I want to get onto rent by 3 to 6 months. That's one of the targets that I set. And I think, may have been beaten now, but at the time I was like the fastest person to go on rent, basically in Pure Gym. Well, that's what the manager told me at the time. So I kind of set myself targets. I was just literally making every shift count. That was one of the things. I just said, listen, I don't like, not because when you're on shift, obviously you work it for free in essence. And I says, listen, if I'm going to work for free, I'm going to make sure I speak to as many people as possible. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to try and do as many challenges, do everything I can to try and build this brand, this TC Fit. Because I believed in it at the time, do you know what I mean? I still obviously believe in it now because of where we got to. But I just believed in it. I said, you know what, I'm going to really push it as much as possible. And yeah, people believed in it as well. You know what I mean? So, that, you know, it just fell into place, like I said.
One of the things that I did notice, and obviously this is for the people that don't know you, when you were at the gym, you were always quite proactive. Say, for example, you do themed fitness days, Halloween, Valentine's, Christmas. You know, I've seen you dress up as the Grinch, Valentine's Day, Broken Hearts, Halloween, and you got, you know, the people, the members of the gym to join in with that. So you created that kind of, you were already building that community. So speak to us about, I don't know, that kind of dynamic, like forward thinking to, I know what I'm going to do. What made you different? What made you come up with these ideas?
I think there's a few things. I think obviously, as like I said, I've touched on it before, I'm quite a sporty person, so I came kind of from playing football, so it's always been kind of team environments, and I understand that being in a team, you're stronger as a group as opposed to being an individual sometimes. And I recognised that building a community was what I needed to do in order to kind of propel the business. I recognised that very early on, so I kind of wanted to get myself out there. And one of the things that I did with that was just giving out T-shirts, and I wanted people to see the brand in the gym, and then people kind of almost building this kind of cult, but a good cult, essentially, of people, of like-minded people who can help build my brand and are on the same pathway as me. That's what I've kind of thought. So I'm creative. I come from, you know, an artistic background as well. So I went uni and done art and 3D design and graphic design and things like that. So it kind of, the creative side of it, I enjoyed. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, doing events where I could plan it and, you know, visually look the way that I wanted to do, and then get a videographer in and, you know, shoot that video. I liked putting everything together in that way. Do you know what I mean? So I always said that if I do something else apart from what I was doing before, I wanted it to be enjoyable. And, you know, being creative is, you know, enjoyable for me. So
one of the things that I will say that you're able to do, and, you know, it's something that I also like pride myself on, or I'm happy on, that you have this kind of like, we call it like a cult, but it's like a community, loyal people that stick with you. You were there at the gym, you were hosting all these different events, your classes were always packed. I always knew when, you know, because I was going to the gym as a member, And I always knew when Tony's classes were on because it was like a party, but people were still working hard. What happened when you realised that you outgrew being an employee and you wanted to become the employer?
Yeah, I think quite early on, to be honest. I think most, especially like in the day and age of social media and stuff, I was getting more inquiries on my social media than I was maybe getting, in the gym and certain things like that. So that was kind of a telltale sign for me. But also, we was doing outdoor boot camps and stuff. So with the pure gym classes, I wasn't getting paid for those. So I was just doing it kind of for the love of it at the time. And obviously, I'd get like 20, 30 members or maybe more sometimes. I'd fill out the class. So I started an outdoor boot camp, and the outdoor boot camp was just as busy as the gym class, and I was getting paid for it now. So I was like, all right, then, well, if I'm able to take my stuff outside of the gym, clearly people are following me and not the gym, essentially. And I was like, all right, then, now we've got something to work with, and I need to try and build on this now. And that's where I started doing events and other things and trying to get people together and just doing nights out with people. Do you know what I mean? So people can get to know each other, and then before you know it, I had this little community of people who really supported what I was doing. Made some really good friends through it as well. And a lot of the people I still speak to now, like yourself, again, people, from the start. Do you know what I mean? So it's been good.
So the plunge, you woke up that one morning, you said, you know what, it's time. Talk to us about that process of obviously looking, we're here now, but you've got to find a location. You've got to think about, obviously, customer parking. That's a massive thing. Is it commutable? Is it easily accessible? You've got to think of maybe even like your client dynamics. How far are they going to have to travel? And you've kind of like kept it in a similar area. But all of these things going through your mind, what was it that made you obviously choose the place that you're in now and say, yep, I can afford to do this, and this is the right spot?
It's a weird one. So we've been looking for about 2 years. So just out of lockdown, I was looking, and I kind of wanted to make the decision to do it around the lockdown time. Then we went back into a second lockdown. So I was kind of like, all right, then maybe it's not the right time. But obviously I kind of done a few surveys with my clients as well. So I built this survey where I wanted to ask them what things were important to them if I was to open a facility. Is it location? Is it, that it's private? Is it, the vibe? Do you, crave equipment? What is it that, what would you rank it in order? So I've done these surveys with my clients. They kind of similarly said location's a big thing. So I thought to myself, right, then it has to be in the Sandwell area because obviously they're all from the surrounding areas. So that was where I kind of made sure my search was. And then we just looked at kind of different locations. And funny enough, this just randomly come up. So I was looking at loads of different places I go and visit, and it didn't quite fit the bill. And then this place just emailed me. I registered with a letting agent, like a business letting agent, and they emailed me this. Looked at it, I thought, looks good. Bit bigger than I wanted maybe at the time, because I was looking at smaller. But I thought, when I said a bit bigger, I thought it's going to be out of my budget, size-wise. So I was like, okay, well, don't get your hopes up. Have a look. Emailed them for the brochure. Got the brochure back, and I, almost fell off my chair. I thought it's within budget. I thought I couldn't believe it at the time. And I looked at the location. Location was perfect for our clients. It was within 5 mile radius of JD gyms, and I was like, I need to take it. So I booked literally a visit the next day. Came down here with my dad. Got some advice. There was a few people at the time saying, oh, do you want to take the risk and all this stuff, like you do. And they was asking certain questions and saying, oh, do you think all your clients are going to come? You might lose some clients and everything else. And I said, listen, my clients have been following me for whatever I've been doing so far. If they leave, they leave. But I think, they can see the vision and what we're trying to build. And hopefully they come and they'll be a part of this journey together. We've been with, most of them from the start for more than like a couple of years, most of them as well. So it was kind of like an easy transition. And then obviously you then get the place and build, and you start the process of obviously the painting, all the rest of the boring stuff, but you can kind of see it building over time, and then it becomes this location that we've got today. So,
but it's like it's your baby, because now it's you that's built this from scratch. I remember watching the videos and seeing them on your your Instagram page of the process of getting it fixed, the fact that you've kept the same colors. It's always been like the gold, the white, the black. You've kept everything uniform from the very start. So you've literally filtered that brand into like your home. And I do believe that you'll outgrow this place too. I've seen your classes already. I've seen that they're packed. Like I said, you know, it's like your capacity is at capacity, but you didn't just start this and it's all you.
Yeah.
You've actually employed staff. So tell us about the staff that you've got and why you chose those people to be with you. Because I know one thing I will say about you is you don't like complacency or people that aren't prepared to graft.
Definitely. I think that was probably the hardest part, is finding obviously good people to work with and good staff. Do you know what I mean? And I don't really call them staff. I call them kind of like almost like business partners, essentially, that help with the brand. Because without those guys, I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't have got to where it is today. You know what I mean? They offer so much things that I can't do. And that was one of the things that I had to realize, is that I can't do everything myself. And I was kind of burning myself out a little bit as well. And there are other people who can do better jobs than me at certain things. And I'll use an example of Chris. He's a lot better with maybe some of the process, the technical side of things. So having him on the team allows, you know, me to kind of not have to look into those areas, and he can sort those areas out. But yeah, it was kind of weird because I was at Pure Gym, bumped into Liam's dad, who's obviously the first member on the team. And knew him in there. He was talking about Liam. He was going to the army, didn't quite get through to the army. He was looking to get into personal training. So can you get some advice from me? And I thought, you know, he comes from like a good family background. So I thought, you know, maybe be a good person to kind of team up with. And I was at capacity at the time as well with clients. So I was getting clients in, and I was just literally passing them to other personal trainers. And sometimes I was telling them, I was like, give me 50 quid and I've got clients, a waiting list now.
I like that.
And but the clients would go to those people. They'd start with them, and then they'd come back to me and say, listen, it hasn't quite worked out, or I want you. And I was like, well, obviously, clearly it's an issue now. Now I need to build a team of people who are on the same pathway as me. Like-minded people, exactly. So Liam was the first person. And then, yeah, as soon as I had Liam on the team, it meant that we could do a lot more things. We could be in 2 places at once. And it just kind of went from there, really. And obviously, hopefully, we can try and build more people on the team. That's the goal.
Yeah, I like that. But there's other stuff that you do for our viewers as well. You do a lot of community work, and you've been doing long walks for mental health. Now, I like that, but why have you chosen to do stuff like that? What is it about the TC Fit brand that still has that outreach in the community? What is it?
Well, we changed the brand. Essentially, it's still TC Fit, but we changed the brand to True Community Fitness because we just felt that it resonated with what we were doing. We are a community brand, and we've done a lot of community work over the time of the brand. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us. But yeah, I'm a community man. I like to get out in the community. I like to help people. I like to talk to people. I like to venture out and stuff. So it was kind of like, you know, things like the walks and stuff, getting people involved in mental health stuff, because there's a lot of people close to me who I've lost through mental health as well. So it kind of resonated with me also. Lost family members, so I was like, you know what, we need to do more in the community, especially around mental health. That's one of the things that I just want to target. And I truly believe, as we call ourselves like fitness advocates, I believe that through fitness, you can actually definitely improve your mental health and your mental state. It's helped me. Fitness helps, you know, my mental mood and stuff. So I'm like, it must be able to help other people. And a lot of people just don't, because they're kind of shy to get into fitness. You know, there's some sort of fitness that they're missing out on that could actually help improve their moods. And by having this private facility now, we can get them in a private facility to train behind closed doors if they're low on confidence. Then we can get them on our walks or get them to our events, and they can then build friends or be around people who are similar minded. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that transition I wanted to have: private facility, then outreach into the community and getting people together. Do you know what I mean? So
I like that because it's an open door policy, and I get it. Not everybody likes to go in a packed gym where there's lots of people. I'm like that. I'm very antisocial. So that's why more time I'll train myself, or I'll just go running down the canal. I don't necessarily want to be around people, but having a private facility, like you said, it's one-to-ones, or there's group work available. It gives the client that freedom to train how they want to train. And then it's like, we'll come to this community walk. And then before you know it, they're out there, they're socializing. And you know, you're building these people to, like you say, your slogan, be the best version of you. I know that once again, well, I believe this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You're going to go through a stage where you're going to want more. You've done this
already
now.
happened, man.
Okay.
It's already happened.
What's the goals? What's the goals? Because I know you're going to be like, okay, what's next? It's almost like I've done this, I've conquered that.
Yeah.
Now I want to do something else. That entrepreneurial mindset.
I think it's a blessing and a curse, I think, sometimes, because for me, as soon as I moved into here, it almost felt like I wasn't happy. And people were like, oh, you're not happy. You've got your goal and you've hit your target and everything else. And I was kind of like, nah. I was like, I need to more now. I need to be looking at the next thing.
Because it's the journey.
Yeah.
It's not the end goal.
It's not the end goal.
It's the journey.
Yeah.
There.
And I was trying to explain this to people, like, we are a community brand, but we're not just one community brand. All right, we're hitting the Sandwell community, but what about, the other communities that need help? Do you know what I mean?
Franchise.
Exactly. So we're looking. I'm thinking to myself, right, and we need to be out in different communities helping people.
Yes, you do.
And that's the thing. Do you know what I mean? Because we can tackle as many people in West Brom, and we've had walks where we're getting 300 plus people on and stuff like that, which is really good for the area. But there's more people that need to be helped, and sometimes they don't want to travel outside the area. You know what I mean? And we need to do more. So that's the goal as well. Is obviously having more spaces like this to help the community, because more of them means more people that we can help, essentially. And like you said, I think in this day and age, a lot of people don't want to go into busy gyms. They just want to get on with their workouts, do it in private. They want to be around people maybe that are more like-minded to them, in group spaces where, it's like classes, environments and stuff like that. So that's kind of our like USP that we're kind of aiming for, and it's working at the moment. People like it.
And I think it's unique. But what I'm going to finish on is, obviously, I'm going to say a massive congratulations.
Thank you.
It's nice to have seen the journey, even though I'm on the sidelines, watching. But it's nice to see that, because one of the things that really makes me happy is to see when people progress, when they get better, because they've worked hard. One of my favourite sayings is, if talent doesn't work hard, the hard worker will always win.
Yeah, always.
You've got to really stay on it, and that is what you've chosen to do. So if anybody wants to get in contact, I need your socials, so you can plug those. People within the Sandwell area, or people that are willing to travel to the Sandwell area to a private gym. How can we get in contact with you?
So the best way to get in contact with us is on our website, so www.tc-fit.co.uk, and then you can go onto our social media platforms, mainly Instagram, that we are on. We're new to TikTok, we're trying. I'm a bit old for TikTok, but it's got to make it work. My Instagram is tcfit_Tony. The rest of the guys is tcfit_Chris and Liam and Jasmine, and then you've got our hub page, which is basically a collective of all of our work together, which goes on our central hub page. Which is tcfit_hub.
We love it. Listen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for inviting me to the gym.
Appreciated.
I'm tempted. Guys, seriously, if you're interested and you're within the area, or like I said, you don't mind traveling to the area, give this guy a go. He's very serious about the work that he does. He genuinely does care about his clients.
Definitely.
And he's got to be okay, because I'm still talking to you after 8 years.
I know, I can't be that bad,
It usually takes me about 12 months, and I'll just go off.
Get rid of them.
So you're one of the genuine ones. So once again, thank you.
Appreciate it for coming down, man.
For your time.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.